Okay, hello, hello. This is Arlene. I'm here going to be doing a very important Monat hair sessions. This is with some of the doctors of Monat, and this is take two. Vicky and I tried this again with some other doctors, and it's like, as Vicky says, and I quote her, it's like herding cats because the doctors are so in demand. We had another lady who is going to join us, and I've had to do separate calls with doctors, so I might actually put them underneath this Zoom call so you can mirror match your people and your prospects. So whoever brought you to this video, thank you. And if you have any questions, please go back to them. So I'm just going to get into it. And I guess we'll start with Vicky. Should we start with Vicky? Okay, so I'm just going to let you go.
Okay, I'm Vicky Wilkins. I started with Monat about 6 months ago, and originally I just signed up to help my sister who had some autoimmune hair loss, and I thought, oh, I'll get a system too and just see how it was. And I was just blown away by what Monat did for her and for another friend of mine. And I started working the business in earnest a couple months later, and it just really took off for me. And I have been so impressed by the kinds of results that friends and customers have gotten that you know, I'm a skeptic. I'm a scientist. I trained, I guess we counted last time we talked, Arlene, and it turns out I trained 18 years after college to get to where I am. And I'm an academic scientist, so I do a lot of research. And one of my first questions for my friend who brought me into Monat was, show me the data. And so I worked really hard to look at what we had both in independent data and in the data from the company. And it was very impressive, but really it doesn't even do justice to what I've seen on the ground in my own personal experience. And I can't wait until that evidence base builds even more, because I know it's just going to be mind-blowing. I feel like Monat has been really an industry disruptor and totally innovative, and it's a game changer. So I've been really happy to be a part of it, and my team is all physicians, so I really understand what it's like to have a group of people that work really hard at a day job and also see the value of doing something like Monat, both to help patients. So we have OB-Gyns on our team, we have rheumatology, anesthesia, peds heme-onc. I'm a pediatric hospitalist. We just have a number of people. I know I'm leaving, endocrinology, of course. So we have a number of people on the team who are just incredibly dedicated clinicians, and also, you know, very ethically oriented, and work hard to do this in a way that is appropriate and not coercive to patients.
Sorry, how many team members that are actual medical doctors that you said again, that you can ballpark?
Yeah, so I think we're in the mid-teens on our doctor team.
That's pretty awesome, because then you're basically adding a lot of credibility. And the other question I asked on the call number one was, what's the average educational years in numbers for most of your doctors and specialists?
I would say that, you know, people are approximating the number of years that I've done. So, you know, somewhere in the 12 to 14 to 18 year range to get to where we are. That's post-secondary, or is that post-college? Post-college, maybe? I can't remember.
No, right.
I went through my calculations.
You're so in the business that you actually don't even know how long you've been educated. That's awesome.
I think I told you last time my dad thinks that I went to 38 grades or something like that.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
So what was your life like before Monat, like the reality as being a medical doctor? And I always like I'm assuming, which they tell you not to, but it seems very serious. And when you talk about, people know generally that dentists have a high suicide rate. I know that doctors aren't that far behind. Doctors, the doctors I've met that are within Monat seem very well balanced. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I think the thing that maybe I didn't anticipate, but that has been really a boon to the way that I practice, is it gives you the freedom to control your own schedule, to practice the way you want to. So I think there's a lot of pressures on physicians to be clinical all the time. There's RVUs, something called RVUs, which is revenue generation units that we are often measured by. And I think doing something like Monat and just, it takes the pressure off. So one of the first things that I was able to do once I hit a certain level was to be able to sell all my night call. And have those nights so I could be at home with my family. And, you know, I have a special needs 2-year-old who really does need me to be home. So Monat has just given me the freedom to practice medicine in the way that I want to practice it, and given me the freedom to do what I do. What did I want to say about that? Well, I'll come back, but basically, it's a lot more home. I'm engaged with my family.
How about the monetary freedom that you've noticed or witnessed?
Right. So that was actually the thing I was going to say. Thanks for bringing that up. For me, you can tell by the way I started with helping my sister and some other people who had some severe hair loss. The first impetus was really helping. And, you know, we joke as physicians that we're a helping profession. So everybody comes to their med school interview, and you interview these eager young students and they say, I want to help people. And it's very nonspecific. But I think there's a lot of truth to that. We really want to help people. And so I focused, or should I say, the great joy comes from that helping. The surprise for me was the monetary freedom. So for my family in particular, my son's special needs helped spur me on to work the business. He needs therapies that we have to get out of pocket that are pretty expensive. And the freedom to be able to do that without cutting into what my girls need has been life-changing. I just can't tell you how meaningful that's been to me, to take that pressure of like, what's going to happen to my son later on, and put that on the back burner because I know he's going to be taken care of. So really, it's a game changer.
What about the people on your team? What level are you at?
So I am MB, looking to level up this month. So
nice.
Yeah.
Little flash sales help. But so your team members, how have your team members been doing, and how does that feel being a team leader now in a different environment?
I think it's been so much fun. Our team has a lot of fun. I don't know. There's something about the humor that we all have. We get it. We're in contact with each other all the time, and we're having a blast. And I think the different ways people are using the financial freedom and the freedom to practice the way they want to is really neat to see.
That's really awesome. Like, there's so many questions. Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
So because I am not a medical doctor, we are not allowed to say medical conditions of types of issues, hair issues or physical issues that affect hair loss. Can you name a few?
Sure. And I like the way that you phrase that, because, you know, we can't guarantee any sort of outcome based on different hair issues that people have. And these issues are very complex, as I've learned over time. And what works for one person may not work for another. But hair loss really affects people with autoimmune disease. So any kind of rheumatoid arthritis, and conditions that are autoinflammatory. So we say, I can't wait for you to get her back again. She talked a little bit about thyroid disease, hair loss. There's the alopecia conditions, which have had some great success with using Monat. And what else am I forgetting, Denise?
There's some hormonal hair loss.
Right.
Happens to us all as moms.
Right. Oh, so the PCOS related and the perimenopausal and postpartum, which Denise can probably talk about, because she has a lot of postpartum women with their hair loss about 2 out after birth.
Thank you. I know you kind of cut in and out there for a second, but I really appreciate you listing those medical conditions. Can you hear me? Oh, yes. So is there anything else you'd like to add or what you would say to a skeptical science-based person that's watching this thing right now?
So I would say to a science-based person, I think it's really important, read the data. There's data out there, and then try it for yourself, because there is nothing as compelling as seeing the results. And under this video, I'll post some of the results of people who have been customers on our team who have had pretty dramatic results, I would say. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Vicky, for joining. The next person who's going to be speaking is Denise. And Denise, thank you so much for joining. I know the last call one, we couldn't get you on, but now she's jumped on. Her family's waiting in the donut shop. But if you could share your experience, we would love you.
Sure. My name's Denise Borlos. I've been with Monat about a year now. My husband and I do it together, and we are at the associate market mentor. Sorry, I had to think about that for a minute. And, you know, we love doing it. So I was the one who dragged my husband into it. I had for quite some time been looking for something for my own postpartum hair loss. And, you know, even though my kids are, you know, now a little bit older, we had tried everything and I was really devastated. You know, I'm also an OB-GYN, and I think that, you know, day after day, seeing patients who were having these hair loss issues and not really being able to give them anything that was really going to be a benefit other than, well, you just have to wait, you know, you can try this, and not feeling satisfied, like I'm not helping them in some way. You know, it was really driving me to look for something. And I happened to be lucky enough to come across Monat and thought, you know what? This could be the perfect marriage of fixing a problem, something that's naturally based, that has science and data behind it, which was a big deal for me. You know, I read those clinical studies before I even, you know, got into it. And, you know, we then jumped in and bought it. I thought, what do I have to lose? If nothing else, I'm going to have some great looking hair. And, you know, maybe from there, find something that we could do together that would really, you know, kind of change our lives. And little did I know, with that one statement, you know, it did change our lives. And, you know, as we sit here on a Monday afternoon, when I would normally be seeing 40 patients and shoving in every single patient that I could because of what Vicky had talked about, those RVUs that we have to meet. It's like goals that you have to meet. You know, I'm driving back from the beach and I'm pulled over, and my family's in the Dunkin' Donut shop, and, you know, they're waiting on me to do this call. But you know what? I don't care that I'm not at work, and I'm not stressed, because I now am, you know, replacing tons of income with what we're doing from Monat, and we're helping people and having a great time doing it.
I think you brought, like both of you brought a really good point about helping people, because that's a total human nature. That's why I think when they say anybody can do this, we all have that. It's so great to help people, kind of hardwiring. Right? It is,
because when you see somebody who's had those results, and they send you, you know, an email or a text message or something, you know, a month out, 90 days out, and they are so grateful. And they say, you know what, this has changed my life. This has made my life so much better. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That, to me, you know, there's nothing better. I mean,
did you get that? Did you get that as a doctor? Like, do you actually get that when patients come in? Do they thank you in the way that they thank you with Monat?
Medicine has changed drastically, and I believe that Vicky will agree with this, in the sense that it's, you know, the atmosphere has changed in medicine. It's not like it used to be, you know, 16 years ago when I started, and patients would be so grateful, and they would bring you, you know, a pie that they baked, or, you know, they'd send you presents or flowers. There's very little of that, you know, even saying thank you. With Monat, I feel like I've had so many, you know, more people that I've helped that are grateful, that actually express that gratitude. And that, to me, is, you know, it just makes it all the worthwhile. You know, any time that you spend doing it, I think is making you a better person.
Oh, and
I have to completely agree. Nice way to say that.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you're just agreeing. No, it's so great to have you guys. You're bringing so much credibility to this organization for all non-doctors and stuff. So I mean, honestly, on behalf of everybody I know, you guys are amazing. Thank you for sharing. Denise, how much education do you have? Have you worked it out?
Gosh, I've never added it up, but, I did 2 back-to-back bachelor's degrees and then, medical school and then, 4 years of residency. So I think, it goes on a long amount of time.
So basically what you're saying, and this is the general thing with the doctors, is you guys are serious hardcore researchers and study your book people.
Yeah.
So when you look at our clinical studies, because I've been accused that this isn't real, like these clinical studies, they must be fake and doctored and la la la. Like as science-based research people, what do you say to that?
I love when people say that. I love the skeptics. I think that showing them the data and showing them, they're independent parties that have verified this data, that have done this. This is not just us saying, hey, oh, I think this is, much better and it's probably 70% more of this. And they actually have measurable, identifiable ways of collecting this data and putting it down there and looking at it. I have all of the studies downloaded on my computer and on my phone so that when somebody asks me about something, I can actually send it to them. I'm like, listen, read it. We have the short version if you just want to, take a couple of minutes, or we have the extended version. Read either one. You're going to get the same information and then get back to me. And they do, and they love it.
And you've actually read the extended. I'm going to assume that you doctors have read the extended.
I did. Just for fun.
And I think Denise and I can both safely say that a lot of our clients are also physicians and nurses. I know I have a large contingent of nurses at my hospital as well. And these are data-driven people. And I think what has really helped is they know I'm a skeptical person and they know I'm always a show you the data person. And so the fact that they have access to that, it's really important to them as clients.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more.
Exactly. I don't hide anything from them. I don't, I say, here it is. Look at it. Ask me about it. I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Is there a certain advice that you would give non-doctor people giving advice or information in a bundle to doctors like yourself?
Oh, that's always a tricky question. You want them to say, I think that Monat really gives you the tools that you need to discuss it, because we're not all doctors, that are doing this. And, as I said earlier, my husband is a hairstylist. So you're not all, professional hairstylists that are going out there and giving that information either. So what you need to do is speak from the heart, speak from your experience, and tell people, you know what, it's a great product. We stand behind it. There's a less than 1% return rate, but if you don't like it in 30 days, we'll give you your money back. Here's the short version of the, it'll give you the synopsis. We have a little 1-page thing that says, this is the results of the study. Look at it and try it. You have nothing to lose in a product that is naturally based. That's kind of what I say.
And if you have market partners or people who are wanting to talk to physicians, I think it's really important to acknowledge, that they have access to those studies. And, if like they want to talk about what is this going to do? How is this going to change my life? And so I think that's a universal. That doesn't need to be something that is done physician to physician, although that may help. But really just speak from your heart and, show what it's done for you.
Okay. That's awesome. That's true. Just speak from the heart, not the mind going, I got to get them. Right. Some people have that mentality. I got to get them. And then the other thing I was going to ask you, wonderful, kind women, is how does a doctor, because the rules might be different in Canada than I guess the US, how does a doctor, or how do you guys implement sharing this with your clients or your patients?
That's a great question. So, in the U.S., there's many different ways. Some physicians work for hospitals, so that's a little bit of a different kind of situation versus in private practice where they work for a healthcare system, or, in private practice where they work for themselves. So personally, I work for a healthcare system, And I have lots of patients who will ask me about it, ask me about things for hair loss. And when they ask me, I will say, okay, here's some options and here's something that you can try. I know that I have some of my market partners who actually sell it in their office. They're in private practice for themselves, and they, have it there in the office available. So I'm not sure, Vicky, I think you work in a hospital, so I don't know how that works.
I do work in a hospital, and I work with children who, generally don't have so many conditions where they're going to be using the adult Monat, although Monat Junior is a great option for our young friends. So I think that in my practice, I don't talk about it. I talk about it with my nursing staff, who word has kind of spread like wildfire. I had one nurse come to me recently, and she had post-hysterectomy hair loss that was so severe, and she was just crying because all her hair was draining down in the shower, and she didn't know what to do. A few weeks after she started with the IRT system, Let It Grow system, she noticed that the hair loss completely stopped, and we shared a teary moment last Sunday where she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And so I can't stop it spreading like wildfire, with our staff, but I just make it a personal policy not to interface about Monat with my patient population or their parents. If there's somebody who's really pressing me, I might refer them to a friend who is not necessarily associated with my team, so that they can get an objective, unbiased view that doesn't benefit me monetarily in any way. So I take that ethical call very seriously.
Right. So basically, doctors can choose, depending on which environment they're in, to divert their people to either themselves or to alternative teams.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. And then is there anything that you know of that exists before Monat that you could have helped your people with? Like truly, because we all know the minoxidil, and then there's a couple other alternative hair loss solutions for people, but in your experiences, do you guys know of any other product that does what ours does?
No, absolutely not.
Unique in the world. And, we have customers that have tried minoxidil and want to get away from it, either from a toxicity standpoint or, they want to be naturally based, or they're just not seeing the result that they would like to see and are really happy with their Monat result.
You want to add to that, Denise, or do you feel exactly? I just saw a lot of head.
I agree. I mean, I think that's perfect.
I mean, seriously, the fact that there has been no solution for your expertise of being a doctor and being to try and give people that are like, please, oh my God, my hair's falling out. Look at the bags of hair, right? Because have you guys been given bags of hair of when people lose their hair? I've heard this with the doctors.
Well, my patients usually bring me bags of other things as an obstetrician and gynecologist, but they have not brought me hair yet, thank God.
I've seen the hair, but I wouldn't trade that, Denise.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway, is there anything else you'd like to say, Denise, to a skeptical person, science-based people, I mean, and I say this honestly, that I found that the women in Monat, or even the men, they seem very well rested and happy. Sometimes you go to the hospital, and the hospital doctors look like they're half dead zombies, truly. And I'm saying that's love. We need, right?
Very true. Very true. Because you know what? I don't feel the pressure to work as hard. I really don't, because you know what? I have something else now that is, filling my life and filling my bank account, that I don't have to have that pressure to do what I had to do before, that drive that was pushing me, over the edge, the burnout rate, I don't have that anymore. And now, life is great, doing what I want on my terms. And that to me is what life is about. That's why I worked so hard to get where I am.
That's so nice. When I'm at work, Arlene, you will see me. I'm 100% in the game. I am as tired as anyone else, and I'm in it because I love it. And that's not going to change. You could give me all the money in the world. I am still going to be in that hospital doing what I do because I love it. but taking those fuzzy edges off, doing the chores that aren't necessarily the things that make you really want to get up in the morning, like those night shifts, I just can't tell you like what that's done for my psyche. It really is amazing.
That is real. That is the pain of the doctors. Truly, is the time freedom. So, I mean, honestly, just looking at you, you seem like you're ready for a new day and skipping through the tulips. Like you guys look so fresh. You look so great.
It is great. I mean, it's actually, I will tell you the one unexpected thing that I got out of Monat is that it made me fall in love with being an obstetrician and gynecologist again. Which there were days that I thought, you know what, I can't do this another minute. I love what I do, but just the pure bureaucracy and the everything that goes with it is just so difficult anymore, and I don't know that I can do this any longer. And this has allowed me to fall back in love with what I did, what I trained for, what I wanted all my life.
That seriously gives me goosebumps. That is seriously awesome. Holy cow, congratulations. Because it's this thing, I don't want, personally, on selfish note, I don't want the doctors quitting for Monat. we need good doctors like you, right? But anyway, so I wanted to thank you both. Unless you have anything else to add, I think we pretty much, it's like a smoking gun.
Nope,
right?
I think my husband and kids are signaling me. There may be smoke signals coming out of Dunkin' Donuts. I'm not sure. I don't see flames yet,
But thank you so much for sharing the wealth of information and your experience with everybody, because you're going to help a lot of people, and you're going to help a lot of people you won't even know that you're helping with this call. So thank you again for your valuable time. And we will see you online. And by the way, for anyone who sent you to this video, please go back to them if you have any more questions. Okay?
all right.
And thanks, Arlene,
Bye-bye.
for doing this. We really appreciate it. Denise, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Take care, Vicky.
Goodbye.